This guitar cost less than £200 to make, and I'm going to show you how to do the same, and hopefully even better than I did. This hasn't yet been set up, so it sounds a bit buzzy, but it is fantastic and I'm so happy with it. And I think anyone else would be too. So I bought all the parts on eBay, and here we have the list of them. There's a Wilkinson bridge, some generic strap locks, generic output jack, again, generic neck plate, some tuners. You'll see I bought the wrong ones here, but we'll talk about that later. Cheap neck, nice body, and this loaded pickguard, which is pretty much what started the whole thing anyway. The total is £195, 38p. Changes slightly, but we'll get into that as we go through this video. So eBay threw this loaded pickguard up to me as a suggestion, and it was like £28. I couldn't resist buying it and testing it out, so this is what I did. As you can see, the top corner chipped off in postage. Had a quick look through the packaging and it wasn't in the packaging, so my best guess is that it actually happened before postage. This is the Wilkinson 2-post bridge. Now I wanted specifically a 2-post bridge because I like the floating bridges. I think they look better and definitely suit my style a bit more. Now, I'm not usually a Wilkinson fan, but I was really impressed with this bridge. I think it's fantastic build quality, real heavy block on it, and yeah, I'll probably use one again. So these are the correct tuners now. If you saw in the screen grab of the eBay basket, I accidentally bought 3x3 tuners that would do like a Les Paul or something like that, so I had to buy these ones, but I managed to find these ones for the same sort of money, and honestly it's probably the best part of this guitar other than the body. I think they're amazing tuners. They're really heavy, they're metal, and they're not the cheap plastic ones that you usually get from China, so I would recommend them. Link in description for all these parts, by the way. And this is the generic hardware. It's all kind of the same stuff. These strap buttons were very small. I would not recommend them. This neck actually really surprised me for the money. It's very orange, but it is very nice. It's got quite sharp ends for the frets, but that's something we can sort out later. I don't do it in this video because I intentionally wanted to bolt this together as if, you know, anyone could do this with absolutely no or minimal skills. And again, I was really happy with this body. It's a lovely body. The color's amazing, the paint's amazing. There's no dings or dents on it. It's a nice weight to it, nice thickness, just everything about it. Really good quality for the price. So I kind of just randomly threw all those parts into my eBay basket without really measuring anything or taking the time to check it out. The neck was a wee bit thicker than the body was in this one, so I actually had to sand the body, but all I did was tape around the neck pocket and take a bit of 320 sanding paper and gently sand it, keep testing it again and again until I got the neck fitting the way I wanted it to. And again, I didn't measure the distance between the posts on the tremolo. I just went for it with this Wilkinson one. Thankfully they line up perfectly with the dots in this body, so it was nice and easy to mark later and drill. So you may have noticed that route at the top of this body isn't big enough for a neck humbucker, so I had to take the chisel to it here and make that a bit bigger. First thing I'm doing is scoring the paintwork, because I know with these polyurethane style finishes that as soon as you start drilling into something, the paint can chip away. So if you score a nice line there, if the paint does chip, it should chip to that line, and that's exactly what happens here. I'll show you a wee close-up of that. So you can see that paint has chipped away when I've drilled it, but it's chipped to the scored line that I made and hasn't gone any further in that, and that's all wood we're taking away anyway. If I was doing this not for a video, I'd just take the router to it. I wouldn't bother with the chisel, but I know a lot of people don't have routers at home, so here's how I would do it with a chisel. And I just do this with one chisel. It's nothing very special, it's just a wide chisel, so anyone can do this. Drill away the excess and then slowly work at it, carving bit by bit until you get it flush to the body where you want. You turn the chisel upside down for this part, you can route it flush with the actual floor of the body, or that the bottom of the route, I should say. And once I get it close enough, I come in from the side like this on both sides, and that just gives me a nice line to work to, so I can keep the chisel straight and bring it in as flush as possible so that we get a nice straight line, or as close to straight as I'm going to get with a chisel anyway. Obviously you can still see it here, but don't worry, I've got the secret sauce for that later on. This is the same process I would use for an SSS single coil routed body if I want to make it into a humbucker. And yeah, we'll just do the same to the other side that we've already done here. And this is what really makes it look professional, as if you have routed it. Use copper shielding tape. Now I would always use copper shielding tape anyway, but if you use it after you've done this here and your carves are nice and smooth, you can cover them up and make it look really good. Just make sure there's a point of contact between this copper shielding and the shieldings on the pickguard so you can complete the circuit. And as you can see here, it's much better than it was before. And you can complain all you like that I didn't include copper shielding in the pricing. So at this point I was just lining everything up to get a good look at it, see that I liked everything, and it's now that I decide I don't like this broken pickguard. So I messaged the seller on eBay, and what I didn't realize was they're actually in China, because their eBay seller name was Suntech Store UK. So wee bit off-putting, but not a big deal. I don't mind buying parts from China. It just makes returns more complicated. So in the end they offered me £15 refund. So I managed to get this pickguard from Amazon Prime, next day delivery, for just a tenner. And again, I'll link that in the description. Obviously this has the standard 3 holes, so it doesn't line up with the switches that I have on this pickguard. You can see the 2 coil split switches here. So I have a decision to make. I can either put one in this middle and then one beside it, or figure a way out that it works, but I decide this as I'm going along, kind of on the fly. And I'm definitely much more of a pearl fan than just the bog standard white. I think the white looks quite cheap, so it all worked out in the end. So yeah, as you can see, this is where I decided to put the second switch. It doesn't quite line up, and you can see it in this shot, but I'm happy enough with the placement. I probably could have took a bit more time to get it exactly in line with the volume and tone, but yeah, like I said, I'm happy with it. And let me know if you agree with me that that looks much better than the bog standard white. Like I said earlier, I got quite lucky that this lines up quite well with the body. And essentially what I'm doing here is the same thing we did earlier when we were chiseling the cavity out. I'm scoring the paint and trying to draw a circle with my 10mm drill bit, and that's just to avoid any chip out or cracks. And you gotta go so gently and slow when you're doing these, otherwise you'll chip out all around those posts. And I haven't slowed this bit down. This is the speed I was going with the drill, and that's just to carve away that paint really gently. Try avoid any chip out. And you'll see when I do this that the paint around it looks like it's lifted a bit, and that's how close it is to chipping out. Now, if you have a pillar drill, do this with a pillar drill. Otherwise, be very careful to get it straight and try not to move as much as you can while you're drilling it. And there you can just see that bit of paint that's slightly lifted up, but it hasn't chipped out. And as I've got the paint away and I'm now into the wood, I can go a bit faster. And the other side's exactly the same, just slow and steady to get rid of that first bit of paint. Try avoid any chip out. And if this scares you, then just buy a 6-point screw-in tremolo, because then you don't have to drill the post holes. Here I'm just marking where I'm going to drill in the neck for the screws. Again, for this bit, if you have a pillar drill, use one. If you don't, just be careful to go as straight as you possibly can. I'm not very good at freehand stuff and I managed okay, so you should be fine. This bridge was a wee bit tight to get in, so I had to screw the posts the whole way up and then put the bridge in and screw it down bit by bit, but I managed okay. So with this loaded pickguard, you do need a soldering iron, but all you have to solder is the output jack and then the ground wire for the bridge, and that's it. 3 joints, really easy. And I'm just testing everything here before it leaves the bench, and you can see from the wee toggle switches that it turns off one of the coils in the humbucker so that you can do the coil split and have single coil tones. Now that tape is still onto the bridge because it's now spring loaded, and I don't want to mark the body until we get the strings on it and we can make it float. Fuck. Not sure I trust the strap on that. Yeah, buy better strap buttons, don't buy these ones. I wouldn't trust them for a ukulele. And here it is all strung up. I'm really happy with this. I forgot a string tree, but the bridge floats nicely. The strings line up quite well with the pickups, all things considered. And it plays really nice. It definitely needs a setup. It needs a very minor fret level because there's a bit of buzzing, but nothing serious, and it's totally playable as it is if you didn't have the capability of doing that. I am going to do a separate video where I take this apart and we do a proper setup, hopefully as a tutorial video, so keep in touch with that. You might hear some of the buzzing on the sound demos coming next, but let me know what you think. I think for less than £200, this is absolutely stunning, and it was a really fun project to do. I would recommend it. I'm also working on one for less than £100, so if you want to see that, let me know in the comments. And if you want me to do this as a giveaway, let me know in the comments. I think it would be a good guitar to give away. Okay, so things weren't going my way when I recorded this. For some reason, I just didn't get the audio recording properly, so all you've got is the camera audio. It's not great sound quality, but it gives you an idea. Okay, so someone asked what are these switches? Really simple. Bottom one is for the bridge humbucker, top one is for the neck humbucker. That's it on both coils. That's it on the single coil. And it's the same for the neck, so when it's this way, it's both coils. And when you flick it this way, it's just the top coil. So yeah. I'll just do some clean tones. Just basic so you can hear it. You've already heard the distorted in the intro. And I'll just do a mix of clean tones if my dog isn't barking in the background. You can hear that buzz there. Like I said, it needs a setup. There is one big problem with this guitar, and I don't know if you've spotted it yet, but give me a minute and we'll go fix that. There we go. It really needed that string tree. Just had to change it. It was really annoying me. And, oh yeah, and I changed the pickguard to black while I was at it. I think just the black looks better with the blue. And this guy commented on the shorts saying that the pearl was disgusting and horrible. So really hurt my feelings. Figured I might as well change it to black because of him. Thank you.